Afternoon to everyone. Bobby White, Chief Public Policy Officer with the Greater Memphis Chamber. So glad for those of you who have joined us on today. We're going to give a couple of moments for those of you who are coming on. I know that we have a great presentation and are very much looking forward to our presenter for today. Again, we're going to give it about 30 more seconds and we are going to get started. Thank you all so much for joining. I see a few more popping in. Okay, we know that one of the things that we've been very interested about during the pandemic, we have essentially since March been in this state of affairs during this COVID-19 pandemic, where we have been working remotely and doing so many things to try to speak to the needs of our chamber members and the larger community. One of the things that we have always tried to keep in mind has been those members who are in particular being impacted by orders and the health directives that we have had to navigate. And with those things have come the impact that we've seen regarding particular industries and businesses all around our community. And so one of the things that we have done throughout the pandemic has been try our very best to introduce you to and expose you to subject matter experts and individuals who can help give you information on resources, financial and other means that can help and support business leaders and companies as they navigate these untimely waters that have been created by this current pandemic. In that respect, funding opportunities have really been top of mind for so many of you. So with that in mind, we're going to today hear from someone who with the city of Memphis is going to be sharing regarding COVID-19 relief that is being offered from the city of Memphis. And to introduce our presenter for the day, we have a dear friend and someone who's worked with the chamber for many years in the position he holds running government affairs from Southwest Tennessee Community College. I've always told him many times that nursing building right there on Union should have his name on the cornerstone for all the work I remember him doing there. But he's a leading member of our Government Affairs Committee and former member of the Memphis City Council. I speak with reference to the person who will moderate and help facilitate our question and answer, and will introduce our presenter, Sherman Greer. The floor is yours, Sherman.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Bobby, and welcome to all. It is my great honor to introduce Director Joann Massey. Joann and I have worked together a long time, and I'll give you a little about her background. Won't read her full bio that I have here. I'll just tell you what I know about her. Joann has been with the city now off and on for several years before taking over the office of, well, let me give you her title. Her title is Director of Business Diversity and Compliance at the city of Memphis. So what Mayor Strickland did is he basically merged the office that was responsible for growing mid-size and women, small business, and MWBE. So he merged that office at a contract compliance office that my good friend Carly McCullough used to serve in to make them more in sync and to really give a better opportunity for small and women-owned businesses throughout the city to gain a foothold and better opportunities to attract and win some of the contracts that the city had. What we've seen in the city was that we have a lot of small businesses that can do the work and could be good subcontractors and even contractors as they grow their capacity. But the issue was that they didn't have the funding to start up. So Joann's office is charged with just that, helping them have that liquidity where they can get started and support small businesses. To keep more of our tax dollars right here by employing some of our own agencies. But Joann's background, she graduated from Lemoyne on. She has an MBA. She worked at Southwest Tennessee Community College. She was in our workforce development area. She was charged with growing a lot of small businesses there. She was instrumental in a program we had called Industrial Readiness Training. You'll remember when Blue City Brewery came in They had some challenges getting started. They needed to employ people. They didn't have soft skills. So Joann stepped in. She and John Churchill back then, they grew capacity for Blue City and Kruger, KTG, the tissue company, just a lot of companies like that. So she's not only worked in government, but she's worked in the business segment and worked with businesses across the state. And before Southwest, we were fortunate to get her. Before Southwest, she worked with the ECD, Economic and Community Development, at the state level under Governor, uh, going back a couple, under, I want to say Bredesen, because she's been around so long, but is actually under Governor Haslam. She worked there, and she was actually the partner with Ted Townsend. So Ted Townsend ran the local office, and Joann was his number two, pushing things out. We partnered with her a lot again in Southwest in terms of Representative Jay Hardaway and former county trustee David Lenore in terms of keeping people in their homes. We did home prevention, foreclosure prevention, some that's over the years, but she has a long history in economic and community development. Sorry, I'm tongue twisted today. I couldn't get my computer to work, so it's got me all flustered. But without any further ado, I'm gonna introduce Miss Joann Massey. Joann, again, is a real true partner. She has a background in government affairs, business. She's worked at the state level, city level, county level. So she knows this business, and she knows what our communities need and some of the challenges that business community experiences. So I'll kick it over to you, Joann.
Welcome. Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sherman. And thank you to Bobby White and Beverly Robinson and the Chamber team for convening this informational today and for inviting me here. As Bobby mentioned, the city of Memphis has been working with small businesses for a number of years. I've been with Mayor Strickland's office now for 4 years, and we've worked to increase capacity and opportunities for businesses. And my former councilman, Greer, who has continued to be an advocate for small businesses and supporting our office, even in his role with government affairs with Southwest Tennessee Community College. And so I'm very happy to be here to be able to tell you all about the resources that are available. We have seen over this last, 8-9 months, as we have been in this pandemic, the challenges that small businesses have experienced. And of course, it's about them not being able to operate at their full capacity because of health department directives, and also, though, not being able to get the funding they need, not being able to keep their employees on payroll. And so Mayor Strickland and City Council in the spring allocated $5 million to small business grants. Now, grants are very rare when it comes to for-profit and small businesses. I get questions all the time. People want to know if they can get a grant for their business. The grants are usually reserved for nonprofits. But in the case of the businesses in the pandemic here, there is a grant allocation that is available for up to $25,000, Sherman, for businesses that do qualify. And the qualifications are really simple. We realized around early March that the pandemic was here and it was going to impact our businesses. So if you, as a small business, are located within the Memphis city limits, you've been in business for at least 6 months prior to March 1st, 2020, and you made at least $30,000 in gross receipts or revenue for 2019, you can qualify and you can apply. Now, that's the minimum in gross receipts. The maximum is about $3 million right now. The average small business in the state of Tennessee, and I'll just say in the city of Memphis, the average small business in the city of Memphis has less than 20 employees and their revenue is less than $1 million. So we know there are many, many businesses that would qualify for this. And it's really simple for them to apply. The website, and I'll pull that up in a moment. I don't want screen share rights just yet, but I will share the website. But the website is www.memphisbdc.org/grants. So, as I said, a business must be in business for at least 6 months prior to, in order for them to qualify for this grant. And all you have to do, I'm going to go ahead and share the website. And Sherman, if you could let me know when you can see my screen, that would be great. Okay, great. So this is the website that you would need to go to. As I mentioned, City Council allocated these funds. Now, these are not operational funds or taxpayer funds. Well, they are, but they're federal funds. They were awarded through the CARES Act. And the CARES Act funding is a federal allocation meant to support communities across our nation in response in those that have had an impact from COVID. So through the funds that the city of Memphis received, we created the Small Business Stabilization Program. And as I said, you must have been in business at least 6 months prior to March 1st in order to qualify. The grants are up to $25,000. Now, there are a lot of grants that are out in our community right now. The Economic Development Growth Engine, they have what's called the NEED grant, and I believe their maximum is up to $10,000. Downtown Memphis Commission has had a grant program. I believe those funds might be exhausted. Shelby County Government has a grant program, and then the Memphis Medical District Collaborative also has a grant program. What stands out about our grant program, though, is the maximum amount you can receive. We are, based on the knowledge I have, we are the organization that has the highest maximum amount receivable, and our minimum is around $10,000. Now, the only way that you can get less than the minimum is if your gross receipts are at around $30,000. You cannot receive more than 25% of your gross receipts. So if you were awarded a grant and your gross receipts were at around $30,000, you would get about $7,500. Again, significant amount, but we do have that exception in place that you cannot get more than 25% of your gross receipts. And unfortunately, and it's very important, and it probably wouldn't apply to a lot of the chamber members and the folks on this call, but if your gross receipts are less than that $30,000, you will not qualify for this grant. There are some other grants that are available that you might qualify for, and our office would refer you to them if necessary, but you wouldn't qualify for this. So I mentioned about the business location requirement. The business must be located within the city of Memphis. Now, we did before have a restriction that not only must the business be located, but the owner must also live within the city of Memphis. City Council recently expanded that to allow those that live in the other municipalities of Shelby County, so our Lakeland, our unincorporated area, our Bartlett and Collierville, Germantown, and so forth. If you live in those areas, but your business is within the city limits, you can apply. There's only a limited amount of funding available for those residents of Shelby County. As I mentioned, EDGE, Downtown Memphis Commission, Memphis Medical District Collaborative, and Shelby County Government all receive CARES Act money, and they all have programs as well, or have had programs. So we are trying to make sure that we support the businesses that are located within the city and those residents of the city. I've mentioned already about the revenue caps and the years in business. In doing the application, everything is on this one page of the website. Everything is right here for you to see. You will be required to sign off a declaration that says you have watched the 3 financial literacy videos that are here. We were fortunate to partner with Monica Kegler, who is the owner of Better Days Financial Services, to help produce these videos and provide financial literacy tips related to filings and small businesses receiving these grants. You do need to watch these videos, and in the application, which I'll show you in a moment, you'll see that you will have to declare that you watch those videos. We also want to make sure that you notate your NACE's code, because there are some businesses, and let me go ahead and pull the application up, you'll see that some of those, there are some businesses that are not eligible for this grant. Now, those businesses are like clubs, liquor stores, banks, or financial institutions like tax preparers are not eligible. Nonprofits and churches are not eligible for this particular grant. But any other kind of business can be considered, even home-based businesses. And that's another thing that's very different about our grant program. A lot of the other organizations don't accept home-based businesses, but if you're a consultant, you work out of your home, or you are, a master of one of the trades like electrician, plumbing, or something like that, you can apply for this grant. And we accept sole proprietors. So if you're your only employee, that's fine. We will accept this, and we will review your application for eligibility. So I think I've got this one screen, so the application is coming up. But what's really important for you to know is that these funds are on a first come, first served basis. And that's why I'm so glad that the Chamber has given us this platform to share this information with you, because we're working on a deadline. Sherman and I know about grants, and let me tell you, I enjoyed my time working with Southwest and helping with the grant program there. But the way that grants work, if you don't spend the money goes back to the federal government. So we only have until December 30th to deploy these funds. And because the application process is in fact the process that we have to verify businesses, we are only accepting applications until December 23rd. So if you're a business and you're interested in applying, you need to get your application in quickly. So Sherman, I want to pause for a second there. I don't know if we have any questions. I can go into some other things, and if I'm going to answer those later, I can let the folks know.
We do. So the first question is, what about funds for independent contractors or those that are using 1099? Do they apply for the grant through the city? And I think you covered it a little bit, but I think they may be looking at like barbershops and some of those that are independent in that sense.
Right. So this grant is not for this isn't for 1099 employees. This is for business owners. So you must have an established business. You must have a business license, and you must have filed a return that includes a Schedule C. And so we will evaluate. We've had a couple of people who have applied with 1099s, but they have a business and they have all those documents that we've discussed. Again, the turnaround is really short now. We're a little over a month left to get these funds out. But if you think that you qualify, it is in your best interest to go ahead, after reviewing this website, to go ahead, complete your application and get it in. We have in the past, when we had incomplete applications, we were rejecting those, but we wanted to make sure that we got the money in the hands of the businesses that need it. And so we beefed up through Mayor Strickland's commitment, our business navigators, and they're helping to walk people through that if they're not submitting everything or if they have questions. I'm actually in the email every day, so I'm answering questions directly for folks who have them. And then you can also call, and it's right here at the top of the screen. you can call the business navigators at 901-636-9300. And what's interesting, Sherman, is we have a partnership with Rory Thomas of the Tennessee Small Business Development Center, which is the Southwest arm, who is a part of our business navigator group, who's helping to answer and filter questions about this grant.
Interesting. So the next question will lead us to, how soon will we see funds if we're approved after application is completed?
So again, it is a process, and once you are actually approved, it's really easier. And this is what I tell all applicants. It's easy if you will follow all the instructions on this website and within the application. And I'm still trying to get that document pulled up, but you can pull it up from the website. If someone would put that website in the chat, that would be great. But if you follow all the directions, the turnaround time is approximately, we're looking at about 2 weeks now. Now, with that being said, when you are approved, there is a committee that reviews your application for approval. So once you're approved, you'll then receive notice from our office that you've been approved. You'll have to sign a funding agreement, submit an invoice, and it is very important, and you'll learn in the videos, this grant money is taxable for companies. So the federal government did not give an exception. This grant money would be taxable. But once you receive that notice, you receive your funding agreement, which is just like a mini contract that you sign, you give us the invoice, we then would make the check request, and all checks are being hand delivered. So you, as the business owner, the applicant, would have to come in and pick up the check, show us a valid ID, and actually provide an original signature. So that's the beauty of government. It's a lot of checks and balances, but it's money you don't have to pay back. And it's money to help be a lifeline for businesses who I know are challenged during this time.
All right, and you mentioned, Joann, that the council had recently amended the requirements to allow for people that own businesses in the city, but may live outside the city, but living in Shelby County. What if they have already made an application and they were denied early on? Should they resubmit?
Yes, they should resubmit. And in fact, we had several dozen that we were keeping track of through our email system. And that's why we encourage and require people to email the documents, because we don't accept any hand delivered documents. You can't fax it to us. It must be emailed to that shared email box, and it's obdcgrants@memphistn.gov. You must email it there. But to answer your question, Sherman, every single applicant that we notated was declined or rejected because of that residency received a personal email from me probably about 2 weeks ago asking them to reapply. And we have had more than a dozen who have done so, and they are in the queue for award. And that was effective November 15th. So that was just this past Monday.
Okay, and one other question we just got. So what if you've received funding from the state, noting that some of these funds are passed through from the state, could they also qualify for this if they've gotten settlement from the state?
Yes, absolutely. And I really wish I could get this application document up. I'm gonna try it again. But yes, absolutely. You can receive, here we go. Let me see. Yeah, you absolutely can receive this funding as well. Can y'all see the application or? Okay, great, good. Okay, you can receive funding for this grant, even if you receive money from the state. So I'm gonna scroll down to where that question is. So there's a declaration that we require, duplication of benefits declaration. We do ask you to disclose that information because the way that we see it, this pandemic has continued a lot longer than anyone could have ever imagined. So even if you receive money from the state, you are continuing to incur an impact as a business owner, regardless. So if you receive money from the state, you receive money from Edge, again, DMC or whomever, you can still qualify for this. What's really important, and I'm glad we got the application up. Let me go back to the first page, Sherman. What's really important, and to make this easy for a business owner and to make the process go faster for you, is to answer all of these questions thoroughly and provide the information. Now, if you are delinquent on your taxes, city or county, you won't qualify for this grant. You'll need to satisfy your tax debt prior to applying. And that's just really important for everyone to know. We do ask for the employee information, as you can see there, in the gross receipts. I mentioned about the declarations we do, and this is really important for the chamber. In the evaluation of the grant, as I said, you can get up to $25,000, but there's an additional award of 5,000. Well, you can get up to 20 with the base award. There's an additional award of up to $5,000 if you are a certified disadvantaged, minority, or woman-owned business with the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance. As most of you may know, we accept third-party certification. So if you are certified through the airport, through Shelby County government, or MMBC, WEBEC, Tri-State, or the governor's office, we accept those certifications, but you must be registered with our office in order to receive that benefit. Additionally, if your business is located in the Memphis 3.0 anchor land use areas, which is expansive all through North Memphis, Whitehaven, Frazier, downtown, some areas in downtown, all over the city. If your business is located in that area, or if you are a if your business is a part of the industries identified as the chamber as targeted industries, which includes professional services, transportation, medical device manufacturing, you can receive up to $5,000 more for your grant.
Yeah, let me hop in there and just mention, we want to appreciate you, Joann. The addition of those target industries was not something that had originally been contemplated, but our being able to reach out to you and have that conversation, and you're advocating for that at the city level, and it being included is something that we owe a debt of gratitude to you for, as do those industries. So just wanted to appreciate you for that, Joann. Appreciate the partnership.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. Bobby doesn't like to tell you all he's a genius, but I thought it was a genius idea, so it wasn't hard to support. But as I mentioned about the video, just going through the application here, as I mentioned about the videos, the 3 videos, we do require that you provide us with the date that you've watched them and basically declare that you've done so. These are some of the other agencies that have relief funds that we identified that, you know, it's just a reference, but it's not all inclusive. And this is a really important part. Like I said, these funds are meant to support businesses who have had an impact due to COVID. And so a lot of times, you know, we all know that you've had an impact, but it's very important that you're able to narrate that and that we're able to document that. And so there are 5 questions here, which are really simple questions, but I continue to use the word expound. So when I respond to people, I'm like, can you expound upon your answer? A lot of times we want to be short and succinct, but this is not the time to be short and succinct. Too much information is not too much information. So if you had an impact in these areas and where we ask for dollar figures and numbers, you want to make sure that you provide that information. So for example, in question 1, when we ask about payroll reductions, even if you haven't had a lot or you're a single business owner, if you're not able to pay your bills, then you need to put that information here. Excuse me. So again, these questions are really important. Our business navigators are here to help you. I do want to kind of give you all, it's kind of the cheat codes. My son, he plays video games and he has cheat codes. So the cheat code for this application is on question number 4. Even if your debts and obligations are being satisfied by your savings, by money that you've gotten from some other government agency, private bank, or whatever, we still need for you to list those debts and obligations with estimated dollar amounts. And it's very important that you do that. So that's the cheat code for this application. And I want to make sure everybody notates. And we put it right here. We ask you to make sure you do it, but sometimes people don't, and that causes a little bit of delay. Sherman, going back to your question about how long does it take? And then how you're going to use the funds. So I mentioned that you can't be delinquent on your taxes. So obviously you cannot use the funds to pay taxes. You can't, we had someone who wanted to use the funds to expand their office to Nashville, and she wanted to locate a second office in Nashville. No, these funds are meant to sustain your business in Memphis. And like any other government program, not only is the city of Memphis, our office, subject to auditing, but your company is subject to audits 3 years after the award of this fund. So you just want to make sure, and I'm putting my compliance hat on now, and I can see Sherman's face like, don't go there, Joann, don't go there. But I'm going there for our best interest. As a former compliance officer and now responsible for compliance with the city, you want to make sure that you're not participating in anything that could put you in a uncomfortable situation. And so you want to just check, these are all the documents that are required. Like I said, we do, if you have a business license, we do need that if it applies to you. So we have awarded to dentist offices. A dentist doesn't need that type of business license because he has a state license. So sometimes a dentist office will have one, but if you're licensed by the state as, like a doctor, engineer, architect, or something like that, you may not, an attorney, you may not need a business license. But we do ask if you have one that's submitted. We require you to have a driver's license or ID, or if you have immigration papers, we do accept a green card. But again, that information must verify that you are a resident of the city of Memphis. We ask for both the principal and the business tax return. A lot of people don't have a business tax return. That's fine. But in your principal return, you should have a Schedule C. We ask for the entire return. Don't just send the profit and loss statement. We need the entire return. And then this 4506T allows us to request your returns if necessary. The last thing that I have here, Sherman and Bobby, is, again, I mentioned about the types of businesses that don't qualify. So this is the list. Everything is right here in this very short application. The application itself is only like 5 pages long. And then we give you instructions and additional information in there. So I'm gonna go back to the website and just make sure that I covered everything. Oh, what's really important is that, and as Sherman kind of listed out my history, I was blushing a little bit. This isn't just rouge that I've got on, because I have been an advocate for small businesses for a number of years. And I love Memphis. I love our community, and I want to see our businesses thrive, because I understand in economic development that thriving businesses impact the quality of life of citizens. It impacts the education system, and it impacts so many other things. And so in protecting the business owners, we made sure that this application, this process, does not require any fees. You don't have to pay a CPA to go do anything for you. Don't let anybody out there tell you, well, I can do an application for you for $500 or $1,000 or 10% of what you're awarded, and you're guaranteed an award. No, you're not. You don't need them. You as a taxpayer have already paid for the services. My team, as Sherman mentioned earlier, the mayor has invested in our office. we have a number of people that are here to help you. We work for you and you've already paid us. So I just wanted to kind of put a little button there to make sure, a pin there to make sure people knew. As I said, you can contact us directly. If you have any questions, you can do so via email, or you can call us on the phone. All the documents you need are right here. Now, Sherman didn't mention that not only at Southwest did I work there for some time, but even before I came to work there, I taught classes. So Business 101 was my class that I love to teach. And I also taught at Christian Brothers University in their MBA program. And so I would always say to my students, read and follow the instructions. We put the application down here at the bottom of the website because we wanted people to read everything that's at the top so that they would be able to follow the instructions and have the information. So don't just scroll down to the bottom and start the application. Make sure that you read everything at the top. But everything is right here. You can confirm if you're in a 3.0 area. You can confirm your 4506. And then again, where I clicked to get the application was right here. So Bobby and Sherman, I think that's all that I have. I just want people to apply. You know, I will tell you that the worst thing that could happen besides our businesses going out of business when funds are available for them right here is for us to have to send this money back.
Yeah, and thanks, Joanne. And that was real good coverage of all of those with so many various programs out there. And I'm glad you mentioned the idea of them not hiring someone to do this for them, because that's what we've seen at the city level and even at the county and at the state level, that citizens will go out and hire someone to do something that they can do themselves, and they can use us at state government or city government to help them get through whatever application it is. So, because we don't want you spending money on professional fees, we want that money to go back in your business. So I think that was a real important point to note. I'll kick it back to you, Bobby White.
I think we may have a few more questions. I'm not sure we made them to them all in the Q&A. In the evaluation section of the website, it mentions businesses being physically located in the Memphis 3.0 anchor area. Does that mean businesses not in the area? Well, I think you spoke to that. Anything else in there, Sherman, that we
I don't see any others that popped up on my side. I've been scrolling.
Okay, well, let me run through these if that's okay. Okay, does it matter where your business is located in Memphis? The map shows that my business may not qualify due to its location in a blue area. Could you speak to that, Joann, or just give some clarity to that?
Yeah, I think what she may be looking at is the Memphis 3.0 map. So if you can qualify if you don't live in Memphis 3.0, you just won't qualify for the additional funding unless you meet one of the other criterias, which is being registered as a minority or woman-owned business with our office, or being a chamber target industry. So we verify where you're located. So if you are not really sure, for example, about being located in the Memphis 3.0 area, the application allows you to mark not sure, and we will check your address for you. Believe me, we want to get every dollar out the door. So if you're eligible for an additional $2,500 to $5,000, we're going to make sure that you get it.
Good deal. I have another question here asking that if your business has more than one owner, will it be necessary for the other owner to also fill out the application? Does it have to be done jointly, or two different applications necessary, or just what?
It actually needs to be done jointly. And so we've had some circumstances where the business owner may live in Memphis. One of the business owners lives in Memphis, but the other one may live in Shelby County. Now that we've relaxed that requirement, you can apply and you would qualify. But if you're a business owner, you live in Memphis and your partner lives in Florida, and you wouldn't qualify for this. This is for Memphis residents, and so we would require that you provide information about the other partner and where they live. And if they don't live in Shelby County, you wouldn't qualify. but you don't want to do separate applications. That's not, because we have a system of tracking all of this.
Okay, I do have a question here. You did talk about the rarity of actually grants for for-profit businesses. And so there's just a general question. Is this a forgivable grant?
So the way that grants work, you don't have to pay them back. There's no forgiveness in it. You just don't have to pay them back. Now, the only way you will have to pay it back is if you're audited and you were not, you didn't provide accurate or truthful information about your company and its qualifications. So if it's found later at some point in time by the federal government or the city that you didn't qualify, then yes, you could possibly have to pay this money back. But that is not what we're doing at all.
Okay, great. This is a question that is speaking to one of those other hats that you wear. Question is just generally speaking about a company saying that they're having a problem becoming certified as a minority company. And let me read it more specifically. They're having problems being oh, I'm sorry. It was actually in the chat as opposed to being in the Q&A. Give me one moment here. Yes, I've had trouble getting certified and registered as a minority-owned business. Where to go for help?
Well, it depends on where she went in the first place to get certified. I can kind of see the question here. So it depends on where you went in the first place. If you came to the City of Memphis Office of Business Diversity and Compliance and tried to get certified through our online portal, which is www.buy901.net, if you are having trouble there, then you need to call our office and speak to a certification analyst and we can assist you. Now, if your trouble is that you're having trouble qualifying, then, you know, that's something that, again, the certification analyst would help you with. If you're not qualified for certification, we can't award you certification. And then lastly, Bobby, if they're trying to get certified through a third-party agency, the city does not have any control over those agencies' certification program. And so they can certainly come to us and apply for certification if they qualify, but we don't have any control over the third-party agencies and their certification. So I would love for Ms. Bronson to contact our office at 901-636-9300 and ask for a certification analyst so that we can help her further.
One thing I will mention, Joann, is that after action for this call is that we're going to want to communicate out the information to a broader audience, just not those on the call. So we'd love to get just a rundown of the websites and any short brief of information that would be good for us to share out to a wider audience and email blast and online. Absolutely. We'd love to be able to do that because this is really great information. Let me ask you this, just regarding, I'd love for you, we were on a call not long ago. I want to take a moment and put a pin here. I'd love for you to be able to talk about, you understand, and many people on this line understand how difficult it is. I want to take a moment. We lost two really great Memphians just the other day, Tommy Pacello and also Melvin Jones, who worked really hard in this community and did a lot of service. I'm thinking of Melvin Jones, who we know was very focused in the area of minority women-owned business enterprises. That's a course of work and some work we've been doing and looking to expand, especially on the private sector side, in response to much of the protests that's happened around the country through our Protest to Progress efforts. But I'd love for you to take a moment here, Joann, and I'll say brag because it's really hard work and it's also so much more to do. But as I'm considering and thinking about Melvin and the push that he and so many others have given over the years regarding increasing, that I'd love for you to talk about widely what you guys have been able to do over the last few years with Strickland administration in terms of increasing the spend with those particular businesses.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby. And let me just say, if I could take a moment here myself to also acknowledge Melvin Jones as the advocate and warrior that he was, particularly for Black businesses. I had the opportunity to not only, work directly with him through our MBDoc committee, but also just in general. Melvin and I shared a passion for supporting Black businesses and minority businesses, particularly in our community. So, you know, really sorry for his family and their loss, as well as Tommy Pacello, whom I worked with in economic development in the Office of Planning and Development. Tommy and I sat next to each other for 2 years. So I had the opportunity to get to know him really, really well. But with that said, yes, the mayor has had a commitment for growing minority and women-owned businesses in our community since he took office. He has committed resources and helped to ensure opportunities are available. So when he took office, we were at about 12% or so. And the last calculation that we have for FY20, which is the fiscal year 2020, we were at 22.93%. But as you said, Bobby, there's so much more work to do. We have built out an infrastructure here that we really want business owners to understand that is here to support them. So not only through our contract compliance, but our certification unit, which is free. And that's another thing that I want to kind of make sure I accentuate, that we do offer direct certification from the city of Memphis. There's no charge for that certification. As a taxpayer, you've already paid for it. And you can be certified directly through our office. That certification is accepted by all governmental bodies across Shelby County, as well as some private companies do access our by 901 list for their minority and women business subcontracting or contracting needs. We also have our Entrepreneurs Network Center, which is 11,000 plus square feet of training space, state-of-the-art technology space available for businesses. Now we're in COVID. Before COVID, let me tell you, the place was hopping with people and so much, hustle and bustle going on. But we have pivoted, working with the chamber. You guys, as you have like this virtual event now, we have continued to offer virtual events. So there's so many resources, so much that's being done. And I will say this, it's not being done by any one entity alone. Collaboration is the key in order for us to be able to move Memphis forward and support small businesses, which is the catalyst of our nation and our economic prosperity. We're committed to working with everyone to help small businesses.
Thanks so much for that, Joann. And I really appreciate it. We appreciate the leadership, your leadership, which has been the linchpin of what the city has been able to do. Those aren't your words, those are my words. But the linchpin of what the city has been able to do and the progress it's had under the Strickland administration, we definitely appreciate it. If there are no more questions, we'll give you a little bit of your time back today, but I want to just thank Beverly Robertson, who couldn't be on the call, but she sends her regards, Joann. I want to thank Sherman Greer for helping to moderate today. And then, of course, again, Ms. Joann Massey for her leadership and the work she's doing, not only within city government, but also how she's impacting and giving leadership to that ecosystem that's supporting businesses generally. So we appreciate the time you all have taken to be on the call today. We'll be sharing information out based upon what we've received today and to ensure it reaches a wider audience. And we thank you all so much for your time and for the efforts that you continue to give to get our economy going and strengthening and proceeding further as we recover and get stronger and better. So thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Y'all be safe.